Okay, so let's get started with our first session where we'll be learning two services. It's a three, in fact. One is API Gateway, Dynamo DB, and a little bit about AWS roles. So let's get started. We are trying to learn these services by building a REST API. Hope you all are aware of REST API. At a very high level, you just take it as a way to communicate to the external world, uh, a machine way to communicate to the external world. So, whenever a machine or a human wants to interact with the system, they expose some REST endpoints, APIs, through which we can start communicating. Okay, so with that background, let's get started. Okay, first let's see what all are we going to build in this today's hands-on session. So first one is Dynamo DB, and then we will have a API gateway deployed, and we will also use AWS roles. Okay, and we'll see what the role plays. Okay, AWS role plays. Uh, so first, let's get started with the DynamoDB creation. Let's go to the AWS console and search for Dynamo. Uh, okay, there is a typo here. Dynamo DB, and click on this. You come here and now go to tables, then create a table here. Okay, so what do we want to name it? Let's name it fruits. Okay, and partition key is something of unique key to identify each record. It's a key which uniquely identifies each record in this database. Okay, so let's have it name of the fruit, and the sort key, I think let's not worry much about it. Just take it as another attribute in the table, and let's proceed for now, because if we get into this we'll have to cover lot many things, and that is not the scope of this session. So let's create the table, and yeah, so now it is creating this table. You see, it didn't happen on the go. It's not something of a magic. So it's creating now. It is taking some time. Observe this carefully. So when we say cloud doesn't mean something which happens like a magic. Like, it doesn't come from nowhere. Someone has to provide that to us. Earlier, we were having our own servers where we would have created these databases. Like, if you have tried in your undergrad course or something else, maybe you would have installed software and started using it. So in that case, that software uses the memory. The Suppose if you have installed a MySQL server on your local, then it uses the memory that is available on your local machine. If you do it on your server, it uses the memory from the server. Okay, but in cloud, so that server or some platform has to be there to store the data. But in cloud, the difference is it will be provided by someone else. So we need not worry about installing the software, maintaining it, and worrying about the size of the database, hardware protection, the software protection, everything. So these things are pretty much taken care by the service provider. In our case, it is AWS. Okay, and that's the beauty of the what you call managed service. So managed service uh, let us focus only on the business implementation. So here we wanted a database, and we just came to came to this section and just started creating the table. We didn't install any software, we didn't any reserve any hardware, anything of that sort in our local, but everything actually is done behind the scenes for us by AWS. Okay, so hope that gives some clarity about what cloud is. It's not something happens out of nothing, or it's not magic. It won't come from nowhere. Someone has to do it. If we do it on ourselves, on our system, on our premises, it's called on-prem. Okay, if somebody else does that for us and gives us a link or a way to access that resource, in our case the database, so AWS has created this database and given us a link, a way to communicate with that database so that we can use the database to achieve our business requirement. Okay. Yeah, so now this is the database, and let's see what it already has. Should it have, should it consist anything? No, right? Because we haven't installed our, sorry, we haven't inserted any data into it. Let's start inserting. You click here on the create item. So name is a unique key. Let's say, what is the name of the fruit? Mango. And then let it be the ripen one, so it will be of yellow color. And let's try to add one more attribute, and let it name is as taste. So yellow mangoes really taste very sweet, so let's create that. So just observe one thing here. If we didn't had these two this attribute earlier, okay, we created it on the go. That is the beauty of uh, NoSQL database. In NoSQL database, there is no hard and fast rule to adhere to the schema that we have defined earlier, except the primary key and the sort key. All others we can add it or remove it as and when we need it, and it did not it won't force us to have those attributes in each and every record. If some record needs that attribute, we'll add it, and if somebody doesn't need it, that's also perfectly fine. If you have seen something in the SQL, the relational database world, then you would know that some value if has to be provided. If you want to provide, if you do not want to give any value, then it should be null, a default value. So it's not the case here. If you don't want to give the value, you just remove this attribute, that's it. Okay, so that gives understanding of what is NoSQL and SQL. Maybe it is a quite in-depth topic, and how and what business use case serves better, which DB serves the use case better. Maybe you can explore more on that. Let's add one more entry into this, and let's say it is again okay, let's say it is apple. Okay, let's say it is green. So okay, let's create it. See, it didn't complain us anything about the taste, just that it do not have anything of that uh, attribute against that attribute. Okay, now you can query and play around. Suppose I want to see, if you see there are two entries now. If you want to, suppose there are hundreds of rows records that we have inserted, then we can come here and search. Suppose I say mango, it gives me mango. Yeah, I think that's all for this session. Hope you got some understanding about the Dynamo DB, and we'll continue with this in the next session, where we will deep dive onto the API gateway, where we'll create the endpoints, deploy, and try to connect those endpoints with us with this fruits database, and we'll try to access and create some more entries into this. Okay, have a good day. Bye bye.